Hello, my name is Chevette Williamson, and I am here to talk about our bracelet called Exotic. And so I'm going to show you how you're able to assemble your kit to make your fabulous exotic bracelet. When you get your package, you will have numbered bags, and these are all the bags at the top with all of the material that you need to assemble your bracelet. In the package with the wire, that is nylon wire, you have 3 pieces of 12-inch nylon wire. You also have these little small beads. These are 2mm crimp beads, but I'm using them as spacer beads. You also have 4mm seed beads. These are spacer bars. It's a Tibetan style spacer, 3-hole spacer. The beads that we're using, the turquoise beads we're using on this bracelet is acrylic. It's an 8mm acrylic bead. We also have 5mm crimp covers. We have 3mm crimping beads, and we have a handmade clasp. And looking at the bracelet, we will go over the different components as we put the bracelet together, as we assemble the bracelet. Okay, this hook, we're seeing the handmade S hook, but you'd also need your tools that you need for this project will be your chain nose plier and your cutter, your wire cutter. You will also need a bead stopper. And the bead stopper, if you don't have a bead stopper, you can find anything that will clamp onto your wire. This prevents the beads from falling off while you're working with your bracelet. Okay, and so when we assemble the seed beads, you're looking at these seed beads, you can see that they're not all one size. And so you'll have a rustic look when putting your bracelet together. But once you assemble the bracelet and you adjust it, you want to just make sure that it's, almost the same length. You don't want any strand to be sticking off too much. And so if you find that your bracelet is not laying well, then you can always go back and take off one of the bigger beads and replace it with a smaller bead so that it will give it a better fit. When we look at these spacer bars, it's a 3-hole spacer bar. Because of how close the holes are, you would use smaller beads with that particular type of spacer bar. And so that is the reason why we're using the 4mm beads. Okay. And so with the bracelet, as you string on your beads, you're going to start with your crimp beads. I'm using the crimp beads as a spacer bead. And so each wire, you're going to string on a spacer bead separate on each wire. And then you're going to feed it through the hole. And then you're going to feed on 5 seed beads on each strand. And then you're going to feed it through the other holes. And then 5 more beads on each strand, feed it through the holes. 5 beads on each strand, feed it through the holes. And then you're going to end with your seed beads. And this is where the spacer beads, and which I'm using 2mm crimp beads as a spacer bead. The way that I find it easier to add my spacer bead to my wire by leaving the bead on the mat and just putting the wire into the hole and sliding it on. Okay, putting the wire. There's another bead here. Where did it go? Very tiny. In your kit, you'll see that you have a few extra spacer beads because they're very small, and sometimes they can fly, they can get away from us. So we put another spacer bead. Okay, and so we have the three beads on the wire. And so now we're going to take our 8mm beads, and we're going to take the 3 strands, and here we want to make sure that the hole is wide enough to accommodate the 3 strands, and this hole is a very good size. And so we put the 3 strands into the hole. Okay, and the count is 5 beads, so we're putting 5 beads on this end. It's 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and you know, I could have evened them up a while back, but I got them through. So now we're going to add our 3mm crimp bead. Okay, we're putting the 3 of the crimp bead, 3 of the wire into the crimp bead. We can leave it on the mat and try to feed it into the hole of the crimp bead, making sure that the 3 wires are in the hole. Okay, then we're going to take one side of our clasp and you're going to take your time and feed the 3 wires through this bottom part here.